Hello. I don't really know what to talk about today, but I will find something, I suppose. I just watched a video on this YouTube about Anubis, and it was very good. It was very fast reading, and I learned a lot. I learned that just a lot of stuff. Okay, one that the thing that harms Anubis is one who carries an ankh, or the life force. And to me, this sounds so true as I resonate with death and consider Anubis as a god to learn from. When I encounter people who are simply joyful and don't seem to contemplate much about who they are or what they say, these people pretty much keep me from having a good time if they manifest themselves positively into the area that I am in. As well, anybody can be appreciated by anybody, but this takes a lot of love and appreciation for oneself and for others, and for efficiency and putting things in order in the world so that there is much less pain, and pretty much benefiting all people, thinking globally. Yes, I do like kind people, and I like to add kindness to the art of occultism, because that to me makes everything so much more holier. One can be occult and have powers and communicate with beings, I suppose, and not have studied the art of kindness, or perhaps they would not know what it feels like to be extremely oppressed, or they have not experimented with the dark night of the soul that St. John of the Cross, that book he wrote, and the term, that is the term I guess he made for that long time of contemplation and in-depth suffering for losing one's personal self to the Almighty God, or wisdom of the world and the universe and all things. One contemplates his place in such a place where all things can be seen as equals. I really do value darkness in that regard. And for me to be healthy, I believe I must come into darkness. And I am learning to ignore so much truths that the doctors say. Truths that are laced with fear. And anyone can see or smell or hear the fear in the air, wherever it may be. If you walk into a hospital, it is supposedly a place of healing. But in order to be healed there, you must be also bombarded, as though an atom bomb has exploded in you, giving you much fear, much sadness, and distance from the spirits. as understanding, and distance from spirit as a personal thing to come into contact with. Life moves much too fast for me, and this is why God has allowed me to become handicapped and out of a job and on Social Security. Life is much more than a job or doing the right thing as it is defined at the current time and place in the world. The right thing is so logically visible that anyone can do the right thing. And when one does the right thing, he may realize that in order to do so, he will put himself at risk to be annihilated, killed, or aggravated by society, by the mass society. This is why so many people will not do the right thing, and why bravery, as I see it, does not exist so much in this world. People create suffering in this world in order to feel valuable to themselves, as though they're viable beings and that God will love them, because indeed you cannot reach God when you are suffering so much. If there is too much pain, you cannot see anything, really. But this is also a stage in the growing of the self. And to be whole, one must understand all stages, and do not persecute such sins or things. Instead, know what they are, and be able to help them if they need help. So many people help each other these days. And I really cannot make myself help someone. Because through helping, people hurt other people. People want to give themselves away. They follow the rules of how to create a good world, but they do not internalize those rules so as to almost chemically transform one's center self into what God truly needs. And that is someone to talk to. That is honesty. Yet honesty does not mean telling the truth so much. Honesty definitely is kindness and truth-telling, and an ability to observe things, analyze, and say the right thing, so that one may help the other to the most maximum extent. When one gets down to it, life is a conversation between different elements, different species, different creations. It is a conversation of differences. Conversation is a positive and happy thing, while differences is almost negative. It is separation. And that's a crude terminology. It is factual terminology, and I do not intend it to be emotional terms. Because when one observes the world, you can see that there are differences. But until you actually know what those differences are, and by that I mean actually realize that there are others in the world, and they are different. You can know this, but until you actually touch a different being, as you are unguarded with your defenses that keep that being from experiencing who you purely are, until you do that and you actually touch a difference, you will not know what it is to be a person, or to be a person who is not the all that is, the God. Because as a person, one is surrounded with so many differences, and to see divinity in all is a very odd thing. There is much to learn, and I think that's all there is to learn. I have gone to a frequency that told me that science is definitely an integral part of the world. Everything that exists now in this world is needed and shall be expanded upon and put into better and understanding terms of everything. When science can prove spirituality, this will be great. And I believe it already has, but many people do not look at it so much. The reason why we would need science to acknowledge spirituality is for the instance of miracle making and producing instantaneous food, etc., for those who need it. That's an example. A good way to go about this is to identify the frequency, the mind state frequency that perhaps saints and miracle workers work at. You should identify the similarities in all these types of people. You should also acknowledge the differences in these types of people, their beliefs, the different ways they go about things. And as you see all these things, notice who these miracle workers are. Then you may have some criteria to work with, and it will point you in a direction as to where you can prove, the frequency that perhaps is needed to do many wondrous things. Brainwave frequency, how one feels, and feeling could probably be analyzed and categorized. Intensity and just overall beliefs, put those into scientific terms. Put the most ever fanciful thing into concrete terms. Or a fun exercise I like is to take something strange and simply prove it in logic that doesn't have to be understood by you as of yet. And after you prove it, then go like, maybe that is possible. And the way I'm thinking right now, the way the world's thinking right now, does not include that possibility. So I'll leave you at that, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!